Hello, Borut with me here, and
Valerie Wolfgang.
we have a podcast, Lift Me Up.
Yeah, welcome to today's third episode. Thank you all for watching. It was a lot of views. We didn't expect that.
We truly didn't expect such an attention, so thank you.
Yeah, but I think it's important that you give us this opportunity that we can talk about everything that matters to us, everything that's important to us. And today we realize that we need to touch on creativity.
Yeah, creativity is a core being of our modus vivendi, our modus operandi, and way of life.
Yeah, I think that creativeness itself is something that we're constantly surrounded with. Also, I think we are very creative people. And maybe later on we will touch on what is creativity, maybe for Borut, what is creativity for me. Before we jump into the topic of today's podcast, we will do a little recap what just happened this week.
Oh, this week happened lots of stuff. Like we are working here for a whole month or more than a month, and our progress is noted and
Yeah.
visible.
Maybe first thing you notice here, the ones who are watching, behind us, there's a new huge cabinet, glass cabinet. It's still filling up.
And the clock
A big clock.
from Vienna.
For those of you who are just listening, it's a big cabinet, glass cabinet filled with Borut's vintage photo cameras.
There are my cameras. They're vintage, just but still working. By the way, this is the window. Talking about creativity, this is the way I was renovating the house of my grandparents, and of course I replaced the old windows. And one of them was in quite bad condition, but this one was quite in good condition. Of course, not to reuse it, but not to keep it. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to find a way or a purpose to reuse it. And after a while, my mom said, why you care, keeping all this garbage here around? I said, no, I'm going to use it. I'm really going to use this, this time. And actually I did. I made a lens cabinet from it, and it's a good memory for my grandparents, and my cameras has a nice, beautiful place.
Yeah, I think we have to draw a line, of course, where the hoarding starts and creativity continues. But I support that. I think it's important that you know how to reuse some old stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, absolutely true. Like we know quite a few hoarders, and
Maybe this will be a topic.
I don't think I am.
No, definitely.
Are you surely not?
No. I mean, I used to be actually a hoarder. My room was so packed that you couldn't even enter when I was a teenager. It was horrible. Everything was on the floor. So maybe this is a subject for some other time, how to get rid of all the stuff and go out of this mess.
By the way, what she's talking about this, I'm absolutely sure it's out of her radar that 2 basements are still full of her
Yeah.
story, and she said we're gonna move it
Yeah.
in April. But
So-
but truth is, she didn't say which year.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still a recovering hoarder. Yeah, that's something I can confess. No, but if we jump back to creativity before we dig into what this means to us, also it was important week because we were on Slovenian television. We mentioned in the previous podcast that we were part of Ribarat, which means dine with me or something.
Yeah, that's right. It's a cooking show. It's like format of Dine with Me. It's very known, and so basically 5 guests are cooking. Basically 5 days, 5 guests. Each one day, one is cooking. So
And then others are visiting.
yeah.
So yesterday and a few days ago.
In this case, with this rule, Ribarat, we had an opportunity to ask somebody to help us cooking, because the cooking is limited only to 1 hour. And luckily, I had army personnel here to help me.
Yeah, I was helping Borut. Borut was invited to the show, and we did quite a show, actually. We were creative, right?
I think we did quite a show.
Maybe you can tell the listeners and the viewers what was on our menu.
Well, the thing is, everything was planned well, they called me and said, do you want to be in this cooking show? I said, sure, but I don't want to cook in my mom's place, and I don't want to cook in my father-in-law's place.
Yeah, maybe just a quick.
Our rooms, no, our flats or house is being rented because we are building a new house.
Yeah, that's important.
And I said, but so yes, I can cook, but in the forest, like on the live open fire. And I can do that. I can do that really well. And yes, we came up to a conclusion. Yeah, it'll be a forest. We in a cabin, open fire. We put the menu. On Sunday we had a test. So on Sunday before the TV.
Yeah, maybe just to add why the forest, because we both enjoy the forest, the nature, and it's something we're very comfortable with. And actually, maybe we also touch on that one day. But
Yeah.
just
So everything we invited like 10 people, like 10 friends to come. But we say, don't come early. Just come at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm not sure what was it. 6 p.m. and we will cook. We will prepare between 3 and 4, and we will cook between 4 and 5, or no, whatever. So basically, we will have like 60 minutes to cook.
Because 60 minutes is also the limitation in the show. That's why this limit is important.
And we did it perfectly. We executed perfectly in the first go, and everything was perfect. But what happened then?
Yeah,
Shock.
Yeah, we had to change the venue for cooking overnight because the snowstorm came. It was
in
horrible
March.
weather.
It was in March. I think it was 23rd or 24th, something like
Yeah,
that.
we were filming the show in March.
Yeah. So in that day, exactly that day, there was a weather, like really a snowstorm, and the wind was tearing down the trees. It's really dangerous to be in the forest during that time, and we had to change like from one day to another.
Yeah, and to make the conclusion of the story, what we did to be very creative, we then suddenly decided, well, let's just cook in a monastery because our studio is here. This is part of the monastery.
Well, yes, that's absolutely true, but there was this is what she said, it was just a little bit shorter than what actually happened. The truth is, I was boiling from anger because I prepared so much and I thought so much, and there was like some anyway. So I was really angry because we had to move and we had to change because this could be avoided. And but Valerie actually calmed me down. Like I said, calm me down, and I calmed down eventually. And then we started to think from the start, and we decided that maybe we can have it in this monastery.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it was really amazing how we just like creatively did a solution that we cook here, and everything. The whole show was then dedicated on the monastery. They showed the studio, the Borut, how he's doing his photography. So I think overall, the solution was amazing.
No, on the end of the day, it turned out much better than in the forest. Why? Because there was more space for photography, more space for us. Was not so much about cooking and our abilities to cook, but it was more about life and so on. And
Yeah, in the studio also, because we're just starting.
studio and everything. So, and this is a great example how things are actually how creativity comes in, and we think creativity is when creativity is needed, like that's the best, when, let's say,
Yeah.
we had a really good plan and we really prepared well, every minute, every gram, every everything was listed, everything was really perfect, and we executed perfectly on Sunday, so 4 days before the TV show. But then this
all
shock came.
the consequences then happened.
The plan just collapsed, just like with one phone call was collapsed. And I said, what should we do now? And then was shock, like that's like from me. We different people are dealing differently with shock. I I got into offensive. How do you deal with shock when something? Do you get angry too?
I usually, when I'm in shock, I just pause. I just freeze because I go, I close myself. I usually go inside me. It's like if I'm really quiet and still, it means that I'm now in shock and I'm trying to process what just happened. That's my way of doing things, because I need to find my balance. If I feel stress, I feel I'm out of balance, and then I just like standing on one leg. I need to find the balance.
So luckily, she convinced me to do the same.
Yeah.
So
course.
I did, and on the end of the day, it came out great. But that's the point. Like, you have a plans, and then plans collapse, and then your maneuvering space closes,
Yeah.
and you have to rethink.
Yeah, that's really interesting how you put it, because I was once a guest at a conference, and the conference was about creativity. And the opening of the conference, they asked me, "So, Valerie, what's creativity for you?" And I was really brainstorming a lot. And then suddenly I said, "Well, for me, creativity is, how did I put it? I think I said the possibility or a gift of solving problems." So I would say I would say that's a theory for me, that being creative is how a person can find good solutions. And this is a great example how we dealt with the situation.
And if we're talking about anecdote, let me share an anecdote. In year 2000, 2001, I was a student at Fabrica. That's like Benetton. Then that's like research center of communication of Benetton, United Colors of Benetton, established by Luciano Benetton and Oliviero Toscani. And we had a workshop. I don't remember who was coming for a workshop. I think it was industrial designer. Anyway, he gave us 2 tasks. One, we will have 2 days. First day, we say, do something beautiful.
Wait, this was just like a task. He said,
Yeah,
your task
he
is
said,
do
like, okay,
something.
now we have like 3 hours.
Did you have any limitations
Yeah,
with,
just like 3 hours, do something beautiful with what you do.
with photography?
Whatever,
Or any
whatever,
Oh,
whatever. Just do something beautiful.
okay, interesting.
And, everybody does something, nothing special, but, we were all free and open and everything. And then the next day, no, after this, we presented, and then he gave us like, he was having like a bag and said, okay, pull something out. And everybody pulled something out. There was like an object inside.
Yes.
So let's say I pull out like a glue, like for
Glue stick.
yeah, something like that. A friend of mine, he was Japanese. He got this will come later in the anecdote. Important. He got like 5 grams of sugar for coffee and this kind of stuff. And then he said, "What is this? Okay, now we have like 2 hours, not 3, and do something beautiful with this." And say, okay. And we all this, and on the end of the day, it came, everybody, we presented what we did, and everybody came to the same conclusion. We did much better the second task when we were really limited than the first task when our hands were open and everything was, we really, and this Japanese friend of mine, he took this 5 grams, so he blew us all out. Like, just like, he was just like, wow, what he presented, we were just like in awe. And I said, no, it's genius.
What did he do?
And what he do with 5 grams of sugar, okay? Just think what you would do with 5 grams of sugar. So what he did, he took like a white board, like a white piece of board, like this size.
1 meter size.
Yeah, something like that. Something like some big size. He put like 5 grams of sugar inside, and then he put it out on the grass field and leave it there. And then he went inside, and with from the transparent plexi or something like that, or this sheets, he cut like a cube. And then that took him like about an hour. And after 1 hour, he came out and put that cube on top of that whiteboard, and he taped it, sealed it, and then he brought that inside. And you know what? Inside there were ants.
Oh, interesting.
Ants were crawling all around, and we were looking.
Wow, it's nice. Yeah, it's like way of life.
That's work of genius, and it's just, his first task to make something beautiful was just as bad as everybody's else.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
That's a smart solution, actually.
Yeah. And if you ask me what I've done with
Yeah, what
this
did you?
glue, I didn't know what to do with the glue. I am a photographer, So what I done is I was carrying this glue around, and I just give it to people, and I said, strike a pose.
With the glue?
With the glue, and they were posing with the clothes, and I just took pictures.
Nice. It's good.
And they it was funny, because there was like this glue all around. So at the end of the day, she said, you know, you didn't it's also like, okay, you didn't found really great creative way, but you found a very good way how to delegate the responsibility to others. So that's good too. That's a creative way too. So
Oh, that's interesting comment. Yeah.
so the point is, creativity needs, if you ask me what is creativity, is that in a limited frame, in a frame, in a
Country.
confined frame of resources, time, what else? Ability, knowledge. In this limited time, with the creativity, you transcend it. You transcend the limitations, and you go deeper. So instead of to be, let's say, we are talking about the shallow on the surface of the ocean, you go deeper because you're confined. You cannot go.
Yeah, but maybe here I have a question. What do you think? I have an idea, but I wonder what you think about either a person like is born with some kind of magical creativity, or is this something we learn on the way, or maybe we get it from influence of others?
Okay, yes and no. Yes, in a sense of we are born with a fear to die,
Mm-hmm.
and death is the most creative force in the world. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to go. Have you noticed that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die? Well, this is a very creative force. You don't want to die, so that's why people are inventing things. Army is one of them. So and the hospitals are, and so on. So this is something that we are born with.
You mean the creative force?
This creative force that we are coming from,
Yeah.
and we want to be alive. We want to stay alive, and so. But otherwise, if you think like that, somebody is creative just because it was born like that, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I can imagine that some people are more visual than mathematics. Some are reading. Some are more like with uh, sport and so on. Yes, but
You know?
but very, very little. I would say less than 10%. More is like your vision, and more like muscle.
Yeah, I know what I think. Like, I believe that probably everybody has like the same amount of creativity, but there's so many limitations. For example, fear. Fear is, I would say, one of the things that suffocates creativity the most. Because, for example, if you have a problem, like you start to think how to solve it, you become creative. But if you are already, I don't know, from childhood raised up, or maybe I don't know how this fear happens, if you always have a fear that no matter what you do is not good enough, or maybe you feel you're not capable of, you just stop thinking about finding creative ways, although maybe they are hidden inside of you. But through, I don't know, um, your growing up, your upbringings, if you're constantly pushed by, I don't know, society, family, or everybody telling you, I don't know, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're not allowed, all these things, I think, start to influence the creativity aspects.
Absolutely, I totally agree. But there are a couple of champions in the world that use the fear to propel as a propellant. Let's say current UFC champion, Strickland. He said there was like this question. It looks like you've been manifested this. Are you doing visualization and manifestation? And he said, no. I like for last 40 fights, I went into the cage to fight, or in a ring to fight, with a conviction I will lose. But then, when I'm there, I just push myself. And also, what is Saint Pierre, this legendary UFC fighter? he also said the same thing. Like, I was always scared. Even Mike Tyson said, he was always feeling that he will lose and somebody will, that's why he trained so well. That's why Mike Tyson was known that he was waking up at 4 a.m. and start running. So it's 6 a.m. when they got up. So anyway, but the truth is, okay, but to answer your question, I would be very, so yes, you're right. And I will, and there are of course exceptions, but let's just think, what is creativity? Creativity is something that is creative, right? It's like creates out of something. Okay. And what is fear? Fear is to preserve.
Yeah, here maybe I have.
Just wait. Let me finish this thought.
Yeah.
Creativity is to create. Fear is to preserve. I don't want to die.
Not do the next step. That's fear for me. Like, maybe that's why I need to add that maybe I have two types of fear. So one fear is not to get injured, not to die. This is one way of fear. But there's this fear that you automatically limit yourself. You don't do something because, I don't know, you just don't feel good enough.
Yeah, but injured, yeah, sure, injured. But also, like in a financial sense, you can be injured. Your reputation could be injured. Like let's say I'm playing a guitar and I'm total beginner, and every kid with 12 years old can play better than me. Is that my reputation injured? Well, somebody will never perform, but I don't care.
You don't care. Yeah, you don't have this fear of not doing it.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I have a fear, for example, start playing an instrument. Okay, first thing is I don't have time at the moment to do anything in this sense, but still, maybe I'm not brave enough to play an instrument on the beginner level in front of anybody else. That's the fear. And then you don't even start. You don't even touch the instrument, for example, in my case, or somebody who maybe dreams of playing a guitar, but they don't ever touch anything music related because they are afraid of what others will say. Well, that's the fear I'm talking about.
Actually, yeah, and plus, there are also, like, I know a couple of guys, photographers, like one of them especially, he's super bright, he's teaching, and he knows about photography a lot. But just because he knows so much, he's afraid to pick up the camera and start photographing, just like for fun or for his, because he knows, like, he has like a whole wall of books, and he knows that his current state of knowledge and projects are not on that level, and he will not start.
Yeah, I think that's the fear I'm talking about. It's like, because here is like, for me, the question now is, if you go back to my original question, are you born with creativity, or is something that you like learn along the way? So maybe neither one or the other is the option, but it's like, what suffocates creativity from our first day of being born until the adult life, right? So it's like, how do we progress through life and not limit our creativity?
You know what Picasso said about creativity? Or
I think I read
said everybody was born as an artist. It's difficult to grow up as an artist.
Exactly.
Because standardization of school system, and is like, has to be limited us and so on. And Sir Ken Robinson at TED Talk, my favorite TED Talk, talked about that.
Yeah, it's like, that's a really important quote from Picasso, actually, that you said. And maybe now when I think about also my education, also now when I'm going more into the science and stuff, it's like, the more I'm going inside science and the more also the system tries to limit me, also within the military, the more I see and feel how important it is to be creative. And also when I talk about the future, I'm constantly being asked, what's going to happen in the future? AI will take our jobs. Are we going to still have, I don't know, do we need each other? Do we need these jobs? It's like, actually, maybe I would say the answer is that creativity is something that's going to be extremely valuable part of every individual.
Yeah.
And I think the school system is way behind. We have to encourage the school to teach us more about
Sir Ken Robinson, in his one of the most watched TED Talks, he said we should treat creativity the same way as we are treating literacy.
Yeah.
And let me share one thing. Like, every parent, I have some few kids. Every parent should teach, but by my opinion, should teach kids two things. One is creativity, and second, working habits.
Mm.
You know, if you have working habits and if you have a creativity, you will be successful no matter what. Are you going to be a surgeon? Are you going to be a soldier? Are you going to be an artist? Are you going to be like a physical worker? Whatever you're gonna, you will need those two virtues no matter what.
Yeah, here was my actually next question. Creativity or discipline, what is more important, or would you say the combination of both? And you actually answered me a bit of that question already, because one thing is also, I know a few people because I was also in the arts for many years, that they are extremely talented, creative, they know how to do extremely unique things, but they are not, I mean, disciplined enough to, go through all the process of life. You need to go on the market, you need to sell things if you want to live, of course. And then the issue becomes that if you lack discipline, for example, the creativity is actually lacking. It's,
Yeah.
stopping you in life.
Yeah, definitely. If there was a study, they put like two groups of students, and one of them was just like make the best, and the other one said you don't have to make the best, just produce volumes. One had like you have to make the best work that you can, like, and the other one was you don't have to make the best, just make like 10 each day or something like that, something like, and those who did like were on the volume, they on the end of the day, the conclusion was that group won, but they made much better work than the other ones, because so I am very much aware of, like, but I'm also a photographer. This is different than being an art, like even a movie director. Movie director needs a huge crew, and so but the photographer, in a contrast to a painter or poet or sculpture maker, we cannot just think of things just be in the photograph. We have to be there. We have to be there. And I am proud to say that for 25 years, I'm working already on the project called 5 a.m., which is that everywhere in the world that I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm photographing till 5:30 up to 6. And in 25 years, I've recorded everything like from Canada, United States to China to, I mean, I don't travel much, in the sense of, so some people who are traveling photographers, I'm just going somewhere and then I'm getting up I'm going for a reason, and then I'm getting up in the morning. So I have a whole volume on book of people being born, people make love, people dying, people fighting, people. I have a couple of murders, couple of like even my nephew was born at around 5 o'clock. I went there and photographed his first hour in his life. He's now like taller than me. Yeah, and almost 2 meters. Yeah, and so on. And he and at big boy. And needless to say, he plays guitar so much better than I. So the point you're trying to say is, like, now we are going to Canada.
Actually, today we're flying. So it's like just after the podcast, packing stuff and going.
Oh yeah, we are going first to Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver, then Montreal, and we finish in Toronto. Maybe we stop in Ottawa as well, but we will see because we have a lot of things to do. A lot of creative things. Borut is having a workshop in Montreal and having a conference in Vancouver. I would also meet many people from the industry of robotics and artificial intelligence, which is amazing because Canada is now one of the biggest producers of AI and autonomous systems. So I'm really excited to be there.
Yeah, and guess what? Guess the hour that I'm waking up.
Yeah, we'll always see lower 5 a.m. Definitely. We'll be creative, and hopefully during our stay we will almost be there 3 weeks. So we will do at least one or two podcasts from Canada.
Yeah, one of the next podcast will be artists abroad.
artist abroad. So it was a pleasure today talking about creativity. Stay tuned and please give us a comment about topics you want to listen.
Yeah, and let us know how are you managing creativity versus fear versus discipline, and which one is more important and which one is your trademark. Bye. Mwah. And now with my numb legs, you know, lick you up. It's not fair, you know. You should lift me up. You are treated as Marias and you're so you're sure. Okay. Yeah, lift me up. Yes, there. Yeah,